The autumn wind is a league, holding the treasures ye may seek. Have some fun and play along, whether for a day or for a week. Seek advice from a sage, or battle straight up. Square off in a cage, or joust without a cup. It's a FanDuel. Is it your favorite you take, or make the logical play? Will your foes stand before you and quiver and quake, as you will be crowned prince for a day? The autumn wind may be a casual player, FanDueling just to talk trash. But there will be those that will play, that will be able to say, I've got my hands on some cold, hard cash.
Hello and welcome to the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. I'm Brock here in Los Angeles from our very own Red Zone set, joined by the Danettes who are in Milford, and they have their lineups and they get ready for Week 16. The guys have ventured into the world of FanDuel for the first time this season after a hiatus from fantasy football. Fritzy, did being in this league inspire you to check out much more of the action on Sunday?
I'm always trying to catch all the games, as we all are, just, for guest ideas and topics and things like that, but definitely more so. And I got more interested in games that I would normally not care about, was probably the main thing. All of a sudden I'm going crazy over a Jaguar-Titan game because maybe I have Bortles or something like that, or the Titans defense. So that was probably the main way it's changed my habits of how I've been watching, because I'm following my FanDuel team and I'm rooting for players or teams that I would never really care about following in the course of the season.
That's the same thing for me. Like, we always try to watch the games, but now all of a sudden I'm more invested in games that normally I'd just watch it because it's the only game on. Like last night, Matt Prater misses a field goal, and normally I would be like, that sucks for him. And instead, I had choice words for him in my living room where I called him very foul things, and then I was like, wow, that's just because of
Prater's gonna prate, baby.
Prater's gonna prate.
I don't know, Seton. I think you had a pretty good week. Let's take a look at the official standings in the Man Cave from Week 15. And Fritzy, it looks like you need to watch more football on this Sunday. You came in last this week. The boss came in fourth.
So bummed.
Because he had exactly 1 point less than Paulie, who takes home the Todd Fritz Middle of the Road Award. McLovin gets the runner-up spot as Seton takes home the top spot. Now, the last 3 weeks, it's pretty much come down to Seton and McLovin in the top spots. Paulie, is there any FanDuel envy brewing amongst the rest of you guys?
I would like to have McLovin's 1 week league win. The rest of it I don't really care about. I would like to be first place overall. I think it's 1,000 people. That would be cool. If I had one of those for the year, I'd be all set.
$350, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think this week might have been the closest I came to that, where last night, if Matt Prater had like a monster night, he was the only guy I had going, I probably could have gotten close to the top, but I think 35th, I don't know that I finished higher than that.
That's still pretty good. Well, it's time to break down Week 15's top performers and those who didn't quite get it done. Paulie, start us off with your finger-licking good picking from this past week.
I told you before the season, David Johnson of Northern Iowa was going to dominate. I didn't tell anybody that. I didn't even say that in my own head. I don't think David Johnson saw this coming. David Johnson, the running back for Arizona, 197 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 42 yards receiving, 42.9. Fritzy, that's a lot, right?
That's a lot.
That is a lot. Antonio Brown, 16 catches, 189, 2 TDs. Actually, that's not that surprising because Antonio Brown has more days like that than not like that. And then Danny Woodhead, 10 carries, 10 rushing yards. It's not that great, but 3 touchdowns receiving, 1 touchdown on the ground, 33 points for Danny Woodhead. He's one of those guys who you're hesitant to pick every week, but then the week you pass on him, he has one of those weeks.
Exactly.
Yes.
Danny Woodhead didn't have himself on his FanDuel team, I heard. Back to you, and let's go over to Fritzy for the bust of the week.
You probably took Danny Amendola last week thinking he'd get several targets from Tom Brady, but that was not, in fact, the case. Before an injury forced him to leave the game, he had only 1 catch for just 3 yards. 3 yards and on a lost fumble, and you were in the negative.
Was that a Boston accent?
I don't know what happened there. I didn't mean to, but it works out for Amendola. Negative 1.2 points to be exact for Danny Amendola. It's just not going to get it done. My other bust, DeMarco Murray. It was like he wasn't even out there Sunday. 3 rushing yards for the Eagles. Got you 0.3 fantasy points. Not getting it done. Danny Amendola, DeMarco Murray, disasters. Busts of the week. Let's find out who was Seton's breakthrough rock star for Week 15.
Kamar Aiken of the Ravens, come on down. Clay Aiken's brother, turns out, can actually ball. Did you guys know that's Clay Aiken's brother?
No idea.
Yeah, true story.
Tough time
Clay
believing.
Aiken, the singer?
Yeah, the singer.
I
Right.
can't
That's
believe
why sort of like that's the rock star tie-in too, aside from
You have to look
Kamar
at that. I
Aiken's.
don't know.
Is he related to
Yeah,
Troy
take that,
Aikman?
Ruben stuttered.
No, come on, now that's ridiculous.
Aiken.
Come on, guys. Yeah, but he got you 22.8 points, which is pretty nice. I don't know if he's a legit #1 wide receiver, but he is the Ravens' #1 wide receiver, and so
Is he related to
he's like the only bright spot in what was a pretty terrible Ravens.
David Akers? Related to David Akers?
I don't think so.
Andy,
Green Acres.
come on.
He's getting silly now.
Let's head out to Andrew and find out who the system-breaking quarterback is. Andrew.
Talk about it.
My system-breaking quarterback is one Theodore Gloves on Bridgewater.
Sorry about that. I had a sneeze.
What did he say?
He just made a big sneeze while you were saying Theodore.
That was a sneeze. Sorry about
That
that.
was
Oh,
legit-
it wasn't like
That was a
choke?
legitimate sneeze. No.
That was a legit
Okay.
sneeze, but
I
I
thought he
laid
was
into
being a
it.
wise guy.
Yeah,
So,
you really
uh,
let loose on that one. So I've known you for the better part of 10 years, and I've never heard you sneeze that
Well,
way
because
before in my whole
the
life.
cameras were rolling. If the cameras weren't rolling, I would have covered up. But
I
I
mean, like
thought, yeah.
That was a season like you
full
get
body.
you get a hernia on that. Anyway, Bridgewater 4 TDs because Adrian Peterson got hurt, who was on my fantasy team. Whatever, Adrian. Bridgewater just went off, and this is Dan Patrick's literally favorite quarterback. Like he loves Teddy Bridgewater as much as he loves his kids. True story.
Fine one.
Solid breakdown there from the guys. And I wonder if Teddy Bridgewater has another monster week, how many people will jump on that bandwagon. We shall see. Don't go away. Fritzy and Paulie are going to break down their rosters for Week 16. And if you want to win your fantasy truck championship, ride the Ram 1500 EcoDiesel to victory. This bad boy can climb a hill, haul a trailer, and completely crushes the competition. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. It's time to get ready for Week 16. But first, let's reveal the Danettes challenge for this week. McLovin, what do you got?
Okay, this week we must select a player who is either, it's a combo of several last week, is either a dating celebrity like Ciara, has been in the Heisman voting or somebody considered him for the Heisman, plays on an AFC North, NFC North, or AFC West team.
Or has the same name as a Heisman winner.
Or
Wears
yes,
cleats on Sunday.
or as Fritzy's been pitching since week 1, has the same first initial on his first name and last name, like James Jones of the Green Bay Packers.
Or someone you haven't taken yet.
Or someone you haven't taken yet, or someone you have taken yet.
Or if there's any white in their uniform.
So it's
Someone
kind
you
of
had last week.
it's a catch-all of all previous 15 weeks.
That is a wide net you're casting there. Allow me to throw one in the mix, if you will. You draft a
Please.
player who has ties to the state of Wisconsin. I'm doing this one for our beloved director. Fritzy, do you think you could manage a challenge like that?
I can, actually. I actually, on a couple of different fronts, I've got it. Can I roll out my roster over here?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, we got Ben Roethlisberger. He's made me a believer after what he did to my Broncos at Heinz Field. He's going to be my quarterback at the Ravens. I'm going to go with Sharkandrick West. I don't know why I'm picking a Chief, but I think this is going to be a big week for him hosting
Are
the
those
Cleveland Browns.
glasses photoshopped on Eddie Lacy's face? Or are those real?
They're definitely not real.
That does look like it doesn't have
Mr.
lenses.
Potato Head.
Speaking of Eddie Lacy, so there's your Wisconsin connection.
Why would
Eddie
you need
Lacy.
glasses to see the camera
weird.
whilst taking a picture?
It's very weird.
It
He's
doesn't
trying
seem
to
like
be
he's not reading the camera. He's just those are BS glasses.
And Eddie Lacy also has the same name as Eddie George, a Heisman winner, so we covered that as well. Sammy Watkins hosting the Cowboys, my first of 3 receivers
Once
I chose.
visited Wisconsin as a child.
I think he did stop by there. at
Cheese
some point.
enthusiast.
Doug Baldwin hosting the Rams, second wide receiver. Teddy Ginn
yeah.
Jr. He's going to be visiting the Atlanta Falcons as my third wide receiver at tight end. I'm going back to the Cowboy Bill game for Jason Witten.
He looks like he's from Wisconsin.
He definitely has a Midwest look. Steven Gostkowski, I think the Patriots.
That's a great
I
Wisconsin
think he's going to
name.
get a lot of
Gostkowski.
field goals against the
There's a
Jets
polka
defense.
band.
The
And,
Flying
the
Gostkowskis.
Pittsburgh
They kill.
Steelers.
Dominate
Ah,
the Sheboygan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
From Sheboygan to
is,
Kenosha, we own it.
the
That's
last
their
piece of
motto.
my Week 16 roster.
Sorry, Fritzy, I didn't mean
The
to talk
beer
over you.
bell
Kenosha
polka.
Kickers they toured with.
All right, Fritzy, you got Eddie Lacy here,
Tommy
running
Bushy
back this
polka.
week, who's been struggling a bit this year. Why gamble on an inconsistent running back so late in the season?
He wants to finish third.
Yeah, that's part of the reason was I'm very upset that Paulie took my third spot, and I want to jump back up from 5th to 3rd. And based on the money I had left, I really couldn't go much over, $6,300. And I think Eddie Lacy is going to wake up, hopefully, here in Week 16 with the Packers. A lot of doubters these last couple of weeks about how good Green Bay is. Eddie Lacy is going to lead them to a big win in Week 16.
Yeah, it's really bad defense.
Let's hope for your sake. On to the man who probably didn't get any help from the misses this week. Paulie, who do you got?
I got Matt Stafford at quarterback. He looked great last night. He was throwing out full blast. David Johnson, this is a reactionary pick, but I still think he would have, 100 yards and a touchdown this weekend. D'Angelo Williams getting a lot of touches. Golden State had a nice week. I figure I pair him with Stafford, maybe double up. Allen Hurns going against a bad defense. Larry Fitzgerald, he's been a sure thing all year. Travis Kelce, not really fond of him. I think he's underachiever, but, I'm going to give him one more chance. Shane Graham, I have no reason whatsoever. And the Seattle defense, I just had a lot of money left over. For some reason, I had a whole bunch of money left over, and I grabbed the Seattle defense. And that's my squad.
I like him. He looks like Andy Dalton's younger brother. Paulie, Golden Tate has been on fire over the last 2 games and is getting more targets than Calvin Johnson. Is it possible that he's emerging as the Lions' #1?
Probably in targets, yeah, because he can do a lot more things across the middle of the field. But Calvin Johnson, if you need a big catch, he's still the guy. But I think Golden Tate gets used a lot at the goal line because he can kind of zip in, and he's a thick dude. So he hasn't had a great career, but he's definitely in the midst of a good career.
Very nice. Okay, we've got 2 lineups all set. And remember, if you want to play 1-week fantasy football against Dan and the Danettes, just go to FanDuel.com/Patrick and enter the promo code Patrick for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts. $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as the contest ends. That's FanDuel, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. Stick around with the hot streak they've been on. You do not want to miss McLovin and Seaton's lineups. We are back here on the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. McLovin, you were the only Danette to finish first in the entire league this year. Have you heard from any of the other DanDuel champs via Twitter?
Yeah, there's a whole community of us called winners. These guys really aren't invited. No, actually.
Where do you guys hang?
We just pick one of the mother's basements in the group, and we all just get together. We have some nachos.
Live stream.
It's a good time.
Parker Brothers board games.
But
Yeah.
in all seriousness, doesn't it help your football brand on this show that you won the entire league one time? And I'm not kidding.
In all seriousness, no, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so, even for
That
a
was
second.
huge, though. You were like 1st and 2nd place.
I'll go ahead and disagree with you because you can go scoreboard anytime you want now. Scoreboard is a great response. We're just talking about Christian Laettner. And you're kind of Christian Laettner, a FanDuel. You're sometimes annoying, a lot of bravado.
Yeah.
You're extremely white.
I would
Lover
say, though, that Christian Laettner got a lot of more girls from what he was doing than
If you were
winning a
single-
fan.
It's about respect, Andy.
Yeah.
It's about respect.
If I was single,
you
if
were
you walk
single-
up to a girl and say, hey, see what I did with Shane Graham there last week? She'd be like, what?
Oh, you know
Why
what
would you
I'm
take
talking
Shane
about.
Graham?
Chicka bump.
Totally take Chris
McLovin.
Boswell
Sure,
of
he's
Steelers.
had tons and tons of women, but you got the right one, and that's what's important. All right, you've been on a hot streak the past couple of weeks, so let's see who is on your roster for Week 16.
Okay, this was an emotional pick. Cam Newton got me here, so I stuck with him, although it just dawned on me right before we sat down that they're going to pull him out if it's a blowout. That makes me very nervous. David Johnson, I can't believe they didn't price him higher. I was surprised. So he had to jump on there. D'Angelo Williams didn't do anything last week. He scored, but he didn't really get any yards, so I figured I'd jump on that. Another one I don't really like. Now, Willie Snead is the pick that I love the most of all the picks. He was targeted literally every single play last night, and he has a very interesting hairdo.
It's a bargain.
But he didn't get in the end zone. He's not much of a red zone threat. Then Dan's favorite, Tyler Lockett. I was looking at Doug Baldwin, but I honestly said, I'm like, Doug Baldwin can't do this again. Can he do this every week?
McLovin,
The dude went to Stanford.
If Tyler Lockett gets a kick return touchdown, do you get the points?
That's a great question, Paul.
Because that would be, I don't think you do, and I don't like that rule.
You should get it.
No,
Defense?
if he gets in, it does. It counts.
So would you get it double if you had Seattle special teams and defense? Would you double up on that?
I don't think you get. I think it's just defense. I don't think you get special teams in that.
I bet you.
Emmanuel Sanders, I tossed a coin between
Oh,
Demaryius
look at
Thomas
you.
and Emmanuel Sanders in this game against Cincy. I don't think Cincy's defense can hold up. Greg Olsen, this was another one. the Olsen train is kind of like, it's petered out.
Hit or miss.
Yeah, it's very hit or miss, but I just, I had the money and he was sitting there. And then I read this story this week on how Chandler Catanzaro is the NFL's next great kicker. Chandler Catanzaro. Catanzaro. Anyway, he's supposed to be the next great NFL kicker, like Hall of Fame level kicker. Who the heck writes that article? But anyway, I was convinced. And then Buffalo with a great matchup on defense.
McLovin, you guys did a special Heisman draft today on the DP show, but from a fantasy standpoint, which Heisman Trophy winner are you taking first?
Oh, dude, Cam with that run, pass, dual threat. Oh, my God. Except RG3, the year that he was good as a rookie, he was a fantasy monster because he was getting 70 yards. Well, Carson's biggest days, though, can't compete with the guys who run. RG3 was one of the greatest fantasy superstars ever. Carson was throwing 4 TDs and 295 yards. But, he's never, like Drew Brees will throw 6 TDs and 400 yards. Because Carson's got the same thing. He blows people out. It's a problem. These blowout quarterbacks, not good.
Yeah, all right, well, let's head to the winner's circle, shall we? Seton O'Connor, who's in your lineup this week?
Well, the Saints are known to give up a handful of touchdowns or so I went with Blake Bordelais this week. I also took David Johnson again, which I'm a little nervous about because he took an absolute beating last week, but was huge, so I decided to roll the dice again. Carlos Williams with Shady McCoy out. He should get a whole bunch of touches. The Ravens' defense is just awful and give up a ton of points, so I went with Antonio Brown, and then instead of Snead, I doubled up on Martavis Bryant, which I'm kind of kicking myself, but we'll see. Can't really go wrong with him. Let's see, I took Jeremy Maclin. I've got Kyle Rudolph. Steven Gostkowski is my kicker, and for some reason I went with the Patriots defense. I'm not really sure why.
Liables did too.
But we'll see how they do.
I like Rudolph. That's very seasonal. Now, Seton, we know Carlos Williams is going to get a ton of touches with LaShawn McCoy out this week. But how much can you rely on this kid in a game that is virtually meaningless?
Well, it probably means something to him because he's getting a shot. So if he's looking to get a whole bunch of dollars in the future, I think he'd be running pretty hard.
That's a good reasoning there. I mean, a guy like that, his job is not safe. They've been going through running backs like water.
Yeah.
So
this is his chance to get a big paycheck.
I like your fantasy reasoning there.
Yeah, and it stands to reason since he was the winner this week. All right, don't go away. We'll break down Dan's lineup and tell you why he'll finish last again. But first, we're going to take a break and remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, doesn't need one. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Plenty of information and pretty pictures on there. Guts, glory, Ram. We are closed up shop here in the box scores FanDuel Draft Day. And don't forget you, that's right, you sitting there at home and can take on Dan and the Danettes in weekly fantasy football. Just go to FanDuel.com/Patrick and enter the promo code Patrick for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts, $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as the contest ends. Fritzy, Dan's struggles this year have been well documented, but But if this were a standard fantasy league where you had to draft a team for the whole season, how do you think the boss would have done?
I think he would have done better if he had, did the initial draft and those were going to be his guys, knowing he'd be stuck with them, except for, miscellaneous trades here or there. The fact that you can reset, same thing for all of us, where you feel, whoever you may be stuck with that didn't come through for you, you can just totally get rid of them and pick up somebody else the next week. But I'm convinced, based on his fantasy league history and his addiction to that over the years, he would have either taken it a lot more seriously or studied a lot more if his team at the beginning was the team he was going to be stuck with the entire year.
All right, well, thankfully for you guys, it's not a standard league, it's a daily one. And here is who DP is taking this week.
Here's my FanDuel lineup. I'm going with Blake Bortles. I'm on the bandwagon there. Hopefully he continues to add to that touchdown total. I got D'Angelo Williams, Carlos Williams, Ted Ginn Jr., Kamar Aiken, Antonio Brown, and Richard Rodgers, Steven Gostkowski, and my Seahawks defense. That is the lineup for this week. Murderers Row.
Murderer's Row. Maybe if it's murdering your credibility. What?
Oh,
my
zing.
God. No, I'm just kidding.
Duck.
If I gave you picking Dan right now, last place or first through fourth?
Well, listen, I can't beat on him too much, okay? Because I've got Bordelais, Williams, Brown,
I give Dan.
Gostkowski.
I have Gostkowski.
So I don't have a. Yeah, I can't. I'm hoping he doesn't.
Actually, this
fall
team
too
is
bad.
super solid.
Rick Rogers?
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
great. He's really great. I can't believe he's only 5,300.
I'm hoping that they're just the Steelers are throwing the whole time, so D'Angelo Williams doesn't get any touches.
Oh, my goodness. McLovin, the boss, is taking a chance on Kamar Aiken after he blew up last week. Is that a smart move?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been like 4 weeks in a row for Kamar Aiken to produce. Schaub is a guy who'll throw for a lot of yards in Baltimore. I really like that pick. In fact, I'm so impressed by Dan and the Dan Others picks. I'm going to do a second team this week with the best of these guys. I think Dan's team is legit. I have no problem with it at all.
All right, Paulie, real quick, tell us who comes out on top this week.
No one's team really stood out. I'm going to go with me.
Okay. I'm going to differ from you. I'm going to go with, let's say, Fritzy, because he's wearing such a collectible top. All right, Fritzy, what can we expect on the DP show over the holidays?
We're going to be running a couple of best of shows, some of our favorite interviews. So while everybody's gathering around the fireplace with family and friends, we're going to show and play in some of our best interviews from recent weeks and months, and hopefully everyone will enjoy that while they're being very festive.
Oh, fantastic. All right, well, thanks for watching the Box Score FanDuel Draft Day. Catch a full recap of this season next Wednesday right here on Audience or via the podcast or on iTunes or at podcast1.com. Actually, just smelling myself. It's not dabbing. It's stupid.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the Box Score. Holy cow!